two. Dynamitri, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Thank you. Yeah, it's the last but one, isn't it? The last one is tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Last one's tomorrow.
Man, I've been thinking, what a magical journey,
It's this.
from Tennessee to Mexico City to Guadalajara to
Yeah,
London, all over the world. All over the-
this has been really fun, and I'm glad
Yeah,
we've had so many people signing up in the community, getting more active, and the questions and feedback.
yeah,
It's been great. So
fantastic.
yes, so today we're going to talk about putting your house in order,
Oh, very important, very important.
controlling what you can control. Like we can't control the universe and other people's
Mhm,
blah blah blah, but we can control some stuff, and it's more than
mhm,
we think. So we're gonna kind of pull up to 50,000 feet and workshop something we do with all our artists. And it really, what I love about this is that it opens the conversation up like I've never seen before. It's like, say we've got a band and a manager, our team. Um, for whatever reason, people just don't have an opportunity to have a conversation about where they
yeah.
are, what's working. We call it like the talent stack audit. So we're going to look at all the moving parts of a person's career, of a successful, either a developing artist, deploying artist, or dominating artist's career.
Mm,
And it gives us a chance to really just open up the conversation. Nobody's wrong. We're just open, transparent conversation. What's working? What's weak? What have we not thought about? What's super strong? Those kind of things. And the struggle most artists face is that they're, heads down, go, go, go. They never really hit pause and take an hour or two, maybe a half day to really think about what's working and how to strengthen the things that need to be paid attention to. So the goal for this module, I want our community to achieve is just to have this framework. We're going to give it to you in the community to do with your team. We do it at least once a year. And it's a fantastic tool. So that's where we're going today. It's all about putting your house in order, controlling what you can control with the talent stack audit. Sound good? All right.
yes, sir. I was on mute.
I know.
Yeah, sounds
You're
great.
a muter.
Good.
I tend to just leave it on here. Okay, so let me 2 seconds. Let me share this out, and we should be.
I can see that. All good.
Be live there. Okay. So this is one of the last days in the How to Not Be a Disposable Artist Challenge. And what we've been doing is going through frameworks, mindsets, execution, action items that we've developed over the last 15 years in working with artists, whether they're headliner or legacy artists or regional artists. So this is all the stuff that strengthens, supports, and sells the music and the experiences you create. So this is putting your house in order, controlling what you can control. So something we like to do at least once a year is this thing called the talent stack audit. And how it works is it's 16 things that make up an artist's career. It's kind of like the mitochondria of an artist's career. These are the cells, right? And some of the cells are really obvious and some of the cells are less obvious, but it's super helpful in working on your career and not in your career. So we're pulling up to 50,000 feet, God view, and it's fantastic for getting and staying on offense. And also, if you have a team, you definitely want to include them in this, whether it's a momager or a manager or your wife or your real manager. This brings out conversations, blind spots that the other 364 days of the year, you'll never know about. But if you do this once a year, it will start to take shape. So let's look at some of the containers, the mitochondria of a healthy artist's career, right? These are 16 things, right? Yeah, 8 and 8. And we think of these as the building blocks of a successful, growing career. Let's take a run around the bases here and just kind of talk about each one of these. The first is your show. This is your live experience. This is what kind of how you stage your experience for your fans, whether it's in a coffee shop with 10 people or in a theater with 2,000 people. This is your show. And this is kind of the center of your career. This is kind of the non-digitally duplicatable part of your career. The second is tour dates. We'll just go left to right here. Tour dates. These are kind of bread and butter. You know, you want to be doing more and more dates. If you're not, you will be soon. The second is revenues, profit, making money. This could be from shows. This could be from e-commerce. This could be from 30 different ways of making revenue. But we need to have a container to kind of graph that. The next is your digital footprint, right? Social media channels, all the TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you know, all the channels we all use. Your songs, right? We talk a lot about songs at Hacking Music. It's songs first, songs last. We want to keep good songs off our recordings. Good songs stunt and careers and waste money. So we want to really keep the bar high for those great super songs that we talked about earlier in the challenge. So that's a container. A recording, you know, your production team. It could be you, it could be your producer, you know, it could be a number of different scenarios, but you know, you probably have a system in place for your recording. The next is your team. These are the people that are in the trenches with you every day. Talk about momagers, managers, whatever that looks like. That early team is important. We want to grow that by layering on allies and a board of directors on top of your internal team. And the next is allies. These are the people that are not in the internal boat with you, but these are people you can go to, high trust people who have been there, done that. They're kind of like 5 years ahead of you, 10 years ahead of you. And they want to help, right? They can't be day to day with you, but if you call them a couple times a year, buy them lunch once or twice a year, they'll kind of let their hindsight be your foresight. Moving down to line 3 is our e-commerce. This is our store. This is the piping behind the scenes that drive revenue and connect with your audience, work on your behalf while you're sleeping or writing. The next is your brand. These are the things that make you different, special, original. This isn't your logo necessarily. This is, you know, as Jeff Bezos says, your brand is what people say about you when you're outside of the room. You know, they're honest. They're talking about you in a very low bullshit kind of way. That's your brand, right? Your merchandise. These are your products, right? We talked about a product stack. If you don't have profitability, you probably don't have a business, right? So you want to be thinking about your merch. And again, we're not going to have all of these containers firing, but we need to be aware of them and start to tune them in a way that, you know, developing artists may not have any merch, and that's okay, right? We want to compete with where we are today, not Taylor Swift. Okay. That's not a fair competition. Your experience. These are the positive touch points of either streaming experience, how you touch your audience, email list, live show. These are all the ways that people experience you, your product, how you interface with them. Do you talk to them, or are you separate and elitist from them? We want to pay attention to our experience. How do we make that stronger? How do we strengthen and shorten that gap between your audience, your fans, and your friends, and your music and what you do? Your image, pretty self-explanatory. It's how you present yourself, what you lead with, your messaging, those kind of things. It's an important container, right? Co-writers, co-creators, these are your people you work with, right? We want to strengthen that container for sure. Operations, this is the back office stuff. It kind of sits with e-commerce. But it's, as your career grows, this becomes more and more important. And lastly is your data, right? These are your pipes. This is the information that tells you how you're doing. This could be something as simple as your email list, or where people are buying, or how they're buying, what they're buying, where they're buying from, all that kind of stuff. So these are the containers of a career. So what we want to do is, I want to do this first before we do the project. I'm going to fast forward here. Let's talk about developing, deploying, and dominating first. These are the three gears of an artist's career. And when we talk about being honest with where we are and competing with ourselves rather than competing with Garth Brooks or Taylor, we need to understand this correctly. So there's developing artists at the bottom, maybe the first 3 years of their career, 3 to 4 years. There's deploying artists in the middle, right? These are the people that know who they are and they're out doing things in the real world with real results. And then there's dominating artists at the top. These are the thoroughbreds, legacy artists, the people that fortunately graduated from developing to deploying to dominating. There's a full team around them, and they're the headliners, if you will, right? So developing artists are going to approach this differently, right? They may have, if we look at the containers here, you'll see that all but maybe a couple of these are blocked out, right? Maybe they're just into songs and recording, not even thinking about allies, not thinking about merch, not thinking about touring yet. They're just kind of figuring out the music part of their stuff. And if that's where they are, they need to be where they are, right? We don't need to pretend we're anything else than what we are. So we want to, live on planet reality, even if you're just focused on these two containers. So this is a scenario of a developing artist. Next, we look at a deploying artist, somebody who's driving revenue, somebody who's got a small team around him, somebody who's put points on the board. Maybe there's a number of products there, and maybe their containers look like this. Yes, there's songs. Yes, there's recordings, but now there's team and merch, a little bit of revenue and some tour dates. Maybe they're touring in a 4-state region. There's allies involved, right? They're really starting to coalesce, and there's some there's some meat on the bones. So if you're in this place, that's fantastic too. We want to be where we are and not lie to ourselves, or not say, I'm competing with Taylor Swift. And then if we look at dominating artists, the thoroughbreds, years maybe 7 through 25, they're going to have their show, they're going to have their tour dates, they're going to have digital footprint, they're going to have allies, they're going to have their merch, they're going to have the e-com experiences, co-write, all these things will be piping, they'll be working, they'll be operating. So that's kind of how we want to think about the three tiers here: developing, deploying, and dominating. No harm, no foul with where you are. You want to compete with where you are today, not with where you think you can be in a decade. So with that, let's go back to the exercises of. All right. So these are our containers, and what we do once a year with our artists is we do what's called a wall project. Could be, a half day kind of thing. But what we want to do is we take these 16 components and get the 4 or 5 of us in a room or conference call, whatever it needs to be. And we workshop this for a number of hours. Okay. And what it looks like, here's an example of one of them, to where we sticky note on the wall, and we open it honestly, say, okay, what is our strength? In this example, they thought, okay, songs are our lead strength. This is what we're best at, right? And maybe our image and digital footprint and team are underneath that. And maybe underneath that is recording. And a little bit less is operation. So we're ranking these, right? And what this does, and maybe lower, is tour, merch, and experiences, and least is data, product, and brand. There are no wrong answers for this, but what we want to do is open up the space for conversations for somebody else to say, you know what, I think that our, image is a lot weaker than we think, or our digital footprint is a lot weaker than we think. So you're able to move things around, and really, this is fluid, right? There's no right one answer to this, but it gives people a chance to say, you know what, our co-writers are really weak. Every song sounds the same, or our production is lower than we think, and here's why. We need to kind of take off our high feeling hat and really put on our manager hat. And we're going to say, look, we're not going to take this personal for the next hour. We're going to say some things that might rub people a little, oh, my co-writing or my writing or my songs are, aren't as brilliant as I thought they were. Expect that. You want to welcome that friendly fire in on this conversation, and have a good hour to 2 hour conversation where everybody kind of moves this around and talks about the key points of where they think they are and what they think their weaknesses are. So that's the first project that I want to give you. And I want to make this available in our community. You can download the PDFs and print them out, put them on stickies. It's pretty easy. So that's action item 1, is what we call the wall project. Action item 2 is a habit project. What I want you to do here is I want you to take these and think about a habit that may be there or it's not there at all. So as you think about your team, let's take team. All right, maybe our team is weak and we need to really start paying attention to team, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to come up with something repeatable. Don't set a goal, set a habit, okay? And say, look, I'm going to buy coffee for somebody every month. And they're not my team yet, but I want to just connect with them and have a conversation about what I think could be my team, right? This is like pre-production reconnaissance intelligence gathering, right? People you respect, people that are 5 years, 10 years ahead of you. Say maybe the habit is meet one person for coffee, buy them a Starbucks every month. So that could be the habit for team. Okay. Put a sticky on there, say Starbucks coffee monthly. And then looking at, let's say products or revenues. Say maybe you're making a little bit of money from touring. Okay. Well, that's not good enough. We want to increase those revenues. So maybe the habit will be, we're going to test this year. We're going to test maybe 5 new products, and we're going to see if the dogs eat the dog food. Maybe it's a subscription model. Maybe it's print on demand product, whatever the product is. We're just going to be thinking about a habit that could drive revenue. And they're not goals. They're just habits that we're testing. Okay. They may work, they may crater, and that's okay because we learn from failures more than we do from successes. So let's say we're going to, every 2 months, we're going to test a new product. Okay. We're going to act like we know nothing about this, and we're going to go in there with a beginner's mind and just test things. Okay. And let's another one, say our experience, right? Maybe our experience is a little like, I don't know what our experience is. I just do music. That's just it. I'm a, whatever. So we need to be thinking about our experience more. So maybe a habit that you can put together for that could be, I'm going to test each month. I'm going to test a new experience. Maybe I'll be live streaming. Maybe I'll be emailing people in a new way. Maybe I'll be gifting new gifts to people that care the most. Maybe I'll be staging an experience live in my shows. Whatever that looks like, it's going to drive your experience. So maybe I'm going to invite somebody up and make their day on every one of my shows. But you're going to come up with some habits for this experience, for driving experience. So that's what I want you to do on the second project, is just think about your habits as they relate to each of these containers: co-writers, image, e-commerce. Try things, test things. Assume that you know nothing. Empty your head and your ego across the board here and just try things. So that's the second test for this training, the habit project. And the tendency here, as you do both these, the tendency here will be, the first time you just go fast, right? Try to get it done. But you want to really give yourself time to get this into your bones, get this into your team, get this into your heart and your workflow as you're working day to day with your music and your career. So the slower you go, absolutely, the more you will grow. So that's a quick kind of overview into getting your house in order. These aren't things that you finish. These are things that's kind of like growing a garden. You're starting to think holistically and integrating things and aligning things in a new way. You're not trying to win a big contest. You're just starting to be aware of the moving parts of a career. So that's what I have for us today, Dynamitri. Any thoughts on that before we
very useful
up on the training?
Very useful. Very useful. Another very informative session. Thank you for that. I'm sure that everyone watching us either now, pardon me, or later on will find it very interesting as well. As usually, if any questions, please leave them in the comment box below the video.
Absolutely.
We will get to answering them. Yeah.
All right.
I think that, we will see everyone. I will see you, you will see me, and we'll see everyone else tomorrow. What, unfortunately, is the last part for now, but, nobody knows what the future brings,
That's right. Dynamitri, thank you.
Same time.
Let me say too, Dynamitri, thank you so much for co-leading this and hosting this with me. It's been a pleasure. I know you've been traveling all over the globe, but
it's been very fascinating to sort of have this thing, those sessions as the only constant in my life over the past few weeks, with like, wherever I went, I was there with my laptop.
Isn't that amazing?
Logging in.
Isn't that amazing? Like you can just do this from.
I love it.
It used to be back in the day, you had to be on Music Row or you had to be in LA or New York. And it's like, I mean, you're where London, Miami, Mexico. It's like have computer will travel, right?
Yeah. I think there is some sort of a, I mean, obviously, it's something to discuss, but there is some sort of an idea in a flying training session, like on the go between, wherever you are, you can tune in either as a host or as a participant, it's been absolutely fantastic. No time for goodbyes yet because we still got tomorrow's.
That's right.
Tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow same time. Let's see everyone else same time as well.
We'll see you there, everybody.
Isn't it strange how the world distorts our shape? Funny how you seem to feel better once again you turn away. Don't be afraid to let me wake you up. You never get the things you want to confined by fear to try. All your inhibitions just contaminate your mind. Let me steal your sorrow, my appetite for you runs wild. Things in secret that you dream of, make them come to life. Hey, let my words infuse your mind. In the night a magical flame, but once again you break your gaze. Don't be afraid to let me burn you up. You never get the things you want, too confined by fear to try. All your inhibitions just contaminate your mind. Let me steal your sorrow, my appetite for you runs wild. Things in secret that you dream of, make them come to life.
I ain't scared of nothing but failure. Listen here, let me tell you, I'm on the red eye from Egypt tonight. We got so much against us, but it still feels right. You so electric, boo, you turn me on like a light. Our body chemistry won't allow us to fight. The adrenaline rush seems to give me wings, and it's not about sex. I love hearing you sing. Those jewels are superficial, baby, you my bling.
You never get the things you want, too confined by fear to try. All your inhibitions just contaminate your mind. Let me steal your sorrow, my appetite for you runs wild. Things in secret that you dream of, make them come to life.
Adrenaline rush seems to give me wings, and it's not about sex. I love hearing you sing. Those jewels are superficial, baby, you my bling. It's the keys to my kingdom, baby, you my queen. I'm on the red eye from Egypt, baby, on my way. No inhibitions, been thinking about my boo all day.